Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be taking a little step into some standard Brawl with a list I'm a little concerned about not being that good, but we're going to play it anyway, because I'm trying to get as many Kaldheim commanders out there as possible to see if they're going to be able to shake up the meta a little bit. This one I don't expect too much from, to be honest, but we're going to be going with it. And it honestly might be in the wrong shell as well. That could be the big problem for it. It's Valky, God of Lies, aka Tibalt, Cosmic Imposter. And we're going to be playing this in a Rakdos control shell. The reason why I'm a little bit concerned with the viability of this deck and getting completely run over is mostly because I would imagine the most played deck right now is going to be the Prismatic Bridge, which is an enchantment, something that black or red does very badly against. And also, we don't really have a great deal of good card advantage in Standard Brawl either, which, if we're playing Control, it's going to be something that we require. So, I would hesitate, if I was you, to build this deck, maybe see how the matches go today, find out whether or not it's actually that good, before you even craft a single card out of it. But, you know what, we're going to be trying things out as well. So it seems like Kaldheim has not really made too much of an impact on Historic Brawl or Standard Brawl, to be honest, but, you know, we're going to give it a shot. So, let's talk about it, shall we? Valky, God of Lies is a 2-mana 2/1 that enters the battlefield, and it exiles a creature that we reveal out of our opponent's hand. We can then pay X to make Valky a copy of that creature, where X is its converted mana cost. We're 9 times out of 10 not going to do that. We're actually just going to be using the other side, which is the 7-mana Tibalt, Cosmic Imposter, a 5-loyalty Planeswalker, that gives you an emblem that says whenever you exile a card with Tibalt, you get to cast that spell as though it was mana of any colour to cast it as well. So the tick up allows us to draw 2 cards a turn. The -3 allows us to exile an artifact or creature, and then the -8 exiles all cards from all graveyards, and then gives us a little bit of a mana boost so we can do something after that. That -8 should win us the game on the spot just based off the cards that we have in our deck. It's basically going to make us draw, like, you know, 10, 15 cards, and most of our deck is removal, so it should be, you know, at least 7 or 8 removal spells for our opponents, 1 or 2 creatures per turn, so we should be able to stay ahead of them. As long as we do stay ahead of them on card advantage and removal, we shouldn't really have a problem winning with this one. It's when we don't that we won't win, so we'll see what happens. We do have some sweepers though. We have Blood on the Snow, we have Extinction Event, and I think we have another one in here, but I can't see it anyway. We probably should if we don't. Anyway, card advantage, as I said, is quite minimal. We've got things like Maze Mind Tome, which draw us cards over time. This is probably the best one of all of them. Cosmos Elixir in here, which seems a little bit win-more-y to me. If we get this down early enough, then we can start drawing extra cards off of it, as long as our life total is greater than our starting life total. Otherwise, we gain 2 life to get there instead. So it is a nice little bit of an aggro defense kind of card as well. But I think this card is probably mostly overrated. But you know what? I think this deck's overrated. So let's see what we're going to be doing with it. Solemn Simulacrum ramps you, also gives you card advantage. Necromancer, whenever you kill something, you exile it instead and put an ice counter on it, and then you can cast that for as long as you have a Necromancer in play. So we can kill our opponent's creatures, steal them, and use them as our own blockers. And then, essentially, the rest of the deck is just lots of removal. We've got Massacre Worm to give -2/-2 across the board. That's our other board wipe. There you go. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, they lose 2 life. Kind of cute. We have lots of removal in things like Poison the Cup, Soul Shatter, Eliminates, Downfalls, Feed the Swarms. This is our one way of dealing with enchantments, so hopefully we draw it when we need it. We probably won't, but here we go. I'm a pessimist. I am now, anyway. After playing this game for however many years, I'm now a pessimist. I'm usually like, things will work out. And, you know, my top decks have proven that's not the case. So, you know, I'm now a magic pessimist. So, live with it, I guess. Either way, though, that's going to be essentially the deck tech portion of it. I don't think I need to explain Control any more to you guys than I do. We basically, our opponent plays a thing, we kill a thing. If we don't kill the thing, we lose. So, let's go. Like and subscribe if you do enjoy this content, by the way, and I'll see you at the end. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Oh god, this matchup's going to be miserable. This handler, we can keep it. So we're up against Zarathan, the Trickster. It's either going to be Rogues, which is my least favourite standard deck, maybe of all time. No, that can't be true. Mono Blue Tempo takes that. But, you know, they're one and the same. Or it could be like a Dimir control list, in which case both of us are going to be sitting here twiddling our thumbs for 9,000 turns. On that note, I think I'll go ahead and just play an Evolving Wilds. We'll thin that at the end of turn. Could be Mill as well, I suppose. It'll definitely have Mill aspects to it no matter which one they go for, I think. We'll thin out. We'll go for a Mountain here. And yeah, I think it's just going to be Swamp. Arcane Signet, so we get ahead on mana. I think so. I mean, getting an early Tigrid's Lantern down might be pretty good. We'll see. We don't really have to worry about holding up removal until Zarathan can flash in. Being a 5-mana 4/4 flash. Also, we don't really have to care about him too much until our graveyard is filled with things that he can take. Our opponent does have counter magic open now, so let's go with this on black. And we'll just go with a Foretelling of Poison the Cup. Yeah, leave it at that. That means we got a secret at all times now, chat. Just keep it to yourself. That is not online. Alright, well, considering we do want to make our land drops here, let's go ahead and do that. Could bolt myself to play around Jwari's Disruption if I wanted to play the Lantern, which is a nice thing to play for sure. Yeah, I guess so. If we eat the counterspell now, it means that if they want to play Zarathan with counter backup, they might have to wait a little longer. So this is just going to buy us time in so many different ways. Yep, there's a negate. And Swamp, nice. 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, one off of playing our commander. I don't think our commander's worth much, to be honest. Nor is Drogon Necromancer. Yeah, so we could play them out now. I might as well just play out the Necromancer so it can eat some removal, I suppose. Gonna miss their land drop as well, I think. Which is pretty good for us. There's a consideration at that point, actually, considering they missed their land drop to... Ugh, that's not a nice counter at all. Yeah, Zarathan just got lots of fuel. To not do anything at all, because they would be discarding to hand size that turn if they didn't draw a land. Well, we can do that now. Got some flash creatures? Nope. Alright, so every turn they miss a land, they're going to discard here, so... It's only really us that benefits from waiting, I think. No, they had the answer. No discarding to hand size for them. And... yeah, I think they're going to scoop there because they missed their land drops, because you wouldn't make that play... If you had a counter spell, you'd much rather discard to hand size because you know that I'm just going to go Valky minus kill Nighthawk Scavenger. And then even if they kill Tibalt, I still have this Scavenger of theirs that I can play. So it's basically going down on card advantage, which is nice for me. And if they don't have the removal for Tibalt, then I just start ticking up and start stealing stuff. Maybe even, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I drew a land... Actually, I would go Tibalt, tick up, kill Scavenger. In fact, I would probably go Tibalt, tick up, regardless, because we both take a card off the top of ours to look for a land. And if I find one, I've got Fire Prophecy, and I also have Poison the Cup to kill Nighthawk Scavenger, so Job gets done either way. Tibalt goes up closer towards that ultimate, and yeah, that's the game. You never want to get mana screwed as a control player, and that's exactly what happened to our opponent, unfortunately for them. Fortunately for me, though. Next game. Okay, we go first. We have removal and a proactive threat in Skyclave Shade, tap land to lead off with as well, and decent colour split on our mana base. So we're going to keep this one. I think 4 lands is a little bit much, but we'll take what we can get, I suppose. It could be worse. So we're up against Kenrith, the Returned King. I think the only... No, actually, no, this is Prismatic... Soulscape or whatever it's called. The Prismatic Bridge is the other 5-colour commander. So Kenrith's Return King. Usually when I see this one, it ends up being Shrines, which is not a good matchup for us because we are not in the colours to deal with enchantments. But for 1 red, you can get Haste and Trample to all creatures. 1 in green, put a counter on a creature. 2 in white, gain 5 life. 3 in blue, draw a card. 4 in black, reanimate. Pretty powerful stuff. And we're gonna, I think, just go straight ahead with a Valky and see what our opponent's up to. They could have board wipes and whatnot, which is less than ideal. But I don't know what else I'm gonna really be doing with my turn. So let's have a look, see what we're working with. Yeah, okay, it's exactly what I hoped it wouldn't be. They've even got Fire's Invention, so they can make 2 plays a turn. This is gonna be rough. The likelihood is we're gonna use this Frostbite on Skyclave Shade, because the Extinction Event's the perfect answer to our board right now. It does mean that I'm taking a turn off here, though. Whereas I would much rather play a Tigrid's Lantern and get that going before they get lots of life gain on board and whatnot. Well, let's get him for 5. I could Bone Crusher our opponent's face to set up a 4-3 for next turn. I suppose they also have the Snapdax thing, but that doesn't really seem to matter much. I'm just going to stomp them and then we'll just use Frostbite on Skyclave Shade so that we can Fable Passage it out. Keep the pressure going, because I think that's exactly what we need here. We can't really let them get all their Sanctums out here. So, Fire's Invention into Extinction Event. Yep, so 2 and 2. I'm going to have to Frostbite Skyclave Shade here, just to keep it around. And, yep, put you back. We could go for the card advantage with Clapbridge Troll as well, though. But I think Skyclave Shade and then Crack to get Bone Crusher Giant out is just fine as well. They've got that Snapdax thing, but that's fine. Just got to get all that removal out, essentially. Is it me or them that chooses? Each player chooses, so I get to keep Bone Crusher Giant if they go that route. Yeah, there's Kenny. I'd love some removal. That's basically 90% of my deck, so if we could find some of that, that'd be lovely. Snapdax also does make them choose between their own enchantments, so it's not that great. In fact, it's kind of a bit of a nombo. You'd have to be really far behind for that to be worthwhile. Alright. Behind, they certainly are not. Let's go Clapbridge Troll. I should swing first, I'm an idiot. I've just given him blockers. Oh dear. Yeah, sack. Give me a card. It's an Evolving Wilds. Cool. Let's swing him. Fire's of Invention's the big problem here, because it gives them total control over their mana base for Kenrith. Something I'm going to have a lot of trouble with. Put a counter on him. Also makes command attacks pretty much completely irrelevant as well, because he's going to cost 2 to be replayed, so like Valky minus kill him doesn't really benefit us even remotely. Okay. Yeah, I mean this was a bad matchup from the moment the game started. We knew that we were going to lose to Sanctums if it was, and we are currently in the process of losing to them. Oh yeah, we're dead. Right, I'm just going to move on to the next game. This is just going to get slow and drawn out, so it's not even worth my time. Next game. Alright, opponent goes first. We have... Wow, a board wipe for the first time today. That's cool. Yeah, we're going to keep this hand. Runs on Gallia of the Endless Dance, so probably some Gruul aggro list. Other satyrs get +1/+1, and whenever you attack with 3 or more creatures, discard a card at random and then draw 2 cards. So it's card advantage for an archetype that shouldn't really have card advantage. But here we go. Fire design, boys and girls. Alright, there's Gallia. What do we do with Gallia information? Do we play Bloodchief's Thirst to kill it, or do we stomp with Bone Crusher Giant? I think the answer is to stomp, and probably to do it pre-untap from them, because they might have pump spells. We don't really want that. I don't think my opponent's likely to play anything on turn 3 that I'd rather stomp, that I couldn't Bloodchief's Thirst later or Elspeth's Nightmare. So let's just make that commander more expensive. Love to see what just happened to our opponent there. There may be hope for us yet, chat. Alright, so let's play Bone Crusher Giant. If our opponent goes land Gallia, it's not a very good move. If they go land Questing Beast, I block and trade. If they just go removal, I feel like I benefit from that. Yep. So now we can go with, I think Solemn Simulacrum. Getting closer towards Tibalt would be really nice here. We're also going to set up a Blood on the Snow next turn if we really care. Let's grab a Mountain. And now we have like multiple options for removal. We can Bloodchief's Thirst with Kicker plus Skyclave Shade. We can wipe the board if our opponent plays 16 different things here. Or we can just simply go Elspeth's Nightmare. Even potentially offering a trade with Gallia on our Solemn. I'd say it's a great place to be. You just played a Shatterskull Charger against me. And it has Trample and it isn't going away. Interesting. Well, let's offer the trade, because none of these cards really scream to me, use them on Shatterskull Charger. That one doesn't either. So when that's the case, I guess we go for the Bloodchief's Thirst with Kicker. And I think we're playing down the Skyclave Shade here. It's not as if it can block, but opponent hits us for 2, we hit them for 3. Maybe even encourages them to overcommit to the board now that we're tapped out. And then we can punish that with a Blood on the Snow. I'm feeling really good about this matchup. Seems like one that we can win. Embereth Paladin is a 5/2. Just gets a counter on it. So I take 4 from using Feed the Swarm on this. We've missed our land drop, so we don't get Valky. Oh, we don't get Tibalt, sorry. Could redraw with Cling to Dust to find it. Yeah, sure. So, draw a card off anything but a creature. That's not too bad. That I think I can... Yeah, I can hold that for a while. So I can do a -4/-4 on something like a Questing Beast. There's Gallia. And the Revelers. Gains haste or destroys an artifact? Well, we don't have an artifact, so it gains haste. And I don't think I can take all this damage, so we're going to go with an Erebus's Intervention. -4/-4 on the Paladin here. Deny our opponent the ability to draw extra cards here as well, which is really important, and we do have a land drop. Cool. Let's get us a mountain. I could get in for 3 here. Blood on the Snow reanimates Solemn Simulacrum. Gives us a blocker for the Gallia if that's all that they play. I could take a little bit extra damage as well. You're a Satyr. So if I went for Feed the Swarm on you, that would put you on 2, and then Elspeth's Nightmare would be able to kill the Revelers. I'd take less damage doing that. Yeah, I don't think I'm ready to fire off my board wipe just yet. Seems a bit premature when I have the answers in hand to what our opponent's doing. And now I get a Duress off the 3 cards they're going to play here. Could go for a Valky. Don't really care for it. If they have removal in hand, he's just dead, and we've just command attacked ourselves for nothing. Yeah, our opponent pretty much takes their entire turn for a 2/2. Love to see it. We get to look at those 3 cards and say, wow, Singleton 60 card, Embercleave makes an appearance. I'm going to take the Embercleave. Haste 3, 2, and 4 damage. So this is 3, this is 2. Extinction Event's pretty bad. Let's eat the Embercleave. Oh no, we need to get rid of Solemn to do that. So I could go up to 7. This would be 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it'd be enough to kill Tibalt. I hate it. I really hate it. I think we're just playing him out anyway. Let's get our opponent to use all of their answers on it. And actually, we got ourselves a Frostbite, which we can use on Gallia here. Or do we use it on the 3/2? It's 7 off of the Berserker plus the Rebuke. Let's see where they go for the attacks here. Straight to face, no respect. Alright, well. I'm just gonna get rid of you. I should imagine now, because they didn't respect Tibalt, that we can essentially just start ticking up like crazy. And just card advantage our opponent out of this game. Unless they have last card removal, which they didn't. Let's see what we get here. Satyr's Cunning, can't block. Creature with power 2 or less attacks, deals 1 damage. I could go down to 7 to see what that last card is. It's probably a land, isn't it? No, it's Perforos's Intervention. That was a good hit. We can instant speed remove Gallia, so there's no rush on that one. If I played this, it would go back into our opponent's yard, and I don't think a 1/1's really all that great. So we're just going to... I suppose we could play the Raid Bombardment. Let's do that. So if they play something bigger than Gallia, we'll Soul Shatter the bigger thing. It's a land. We'll get rid of Gallia then. I like the idea now that we're drawing 2 cards a turn. Oh, 3 cards a turn, really. And we only ever have to answer 1, maybe 2 things out of those 3 cards every single time. So this time we get an Anax. Blocks extremely well into Gallia, so our opponent will be crying right about now. We have the 8 to Extinction as well. So this game's completely locked up. I don't see a world where our opponent wins. It's not as if Banefire still exists. I'll eat that. Graveyard, a swamp. We don't need more land drops now. And it's just a matter of time until Tibalt, Cosmic Imposter, gets up to that ult. And then we just exile too many cards for our opponent to ever be able to draw out of it. And yeah, just incapable of resolving anything. And that'll do it. Alright, deck did exactly what I hoped it would do. It hasn't done it as consistently as I'd hoped. I think this deck is ultimately quite trash. But, you know, when it gets to do its thing, it looks pretty cool. Just standard Rakdos doesn't have enough card advantage to become a control deck, I don't think. That's my verdict on this, but I want to give it a shot, you know. I think we can go for one more game as well, so let's do that. Okay, on the play, we've got a reasonable hand, so we're going to keep this one. See how we go. We're up against Phylath, World Sculptor, 6 mana, 5/5, enters, creates a number of 0/1 plant tokens equal to the number of basic lands you control, and then whenever a land enters the battlefield, you get to put 4 +1/+1 counters on a land of your choice, on a plant, sorry, of your choice. I'm just going to go with the Arcane Signet for now. Let's just get ramping. Extinction Event's pretty good against Phylath, since the tokens they make are even as well as Phylath themselves. And, ooh, really nice hit for us there. We got a Solemn Simulacrum. And go grab a mountain with this. And we're getting to a really nice early Tibalt potentially here. Opponent's only on 3 lands. Let's see what Azusa can do. Azusa, notoriously a pretty bad commander. In my eyes, 4, 5, 6, well, 1 shot. I'm wondering if we play Tigrid here. That could be quite nice. We're not really making them sack anything. Necessarily, though. Something to keep in mind. Maybe the Lantern's better, but with the amount of tokens Phylath makes, maybe not. This does mean that, like, Fable Passage will come into play under our control, which is kind of cute. I just like the idea of a 4/5 as well. Keep that pressure on, get actually decent blockers in play. If our opponent does go for the Phylath here, then Extinction Event on even does leave us with Tigrid. At the very least. But if they go with Phylath here, I'm actually just going to straight up Turbo Slam a Massacre Worm, so there is that. Oofs in chat, please. 9. 4 on the Menace here. That's just really nice. It's really nice in general. There are a virtual 3 with the Bone Crusher Giant Stomp. Oh, there's Great Henge. If there's any card that's going to get them out of a very tight spot, it's going to be the Great Henge. That being said, Extinction event on even. Gets rid of their board. 4, 5, 6. We put them to 1. Probably 3 off of the next creature that enters because of the Great Henge. And then I don't know where we go from there, honestly. We probably try to get Valky out so that we can start doing some card advantage shenanigans. I guess also the swing, because there's force blocks here. Like, they trade here, they get the trigger. They trade here. We draw a card. I don't know, there's something there, I suppose. That could have been a different line of play, but nice and quick win there. Don't really expect them very often, but here they are. Alright, well, we go first, and we got removal.hand here. Tempted to keep it. In fact, Massacre Worm's really good against our opponent's commander, so I don't really want to throw that one away, at the very least. Yeah, let's keep this one. So we've got a turn to eliminate. I think we're going to go with the Agadeem's Awakening to get that into play first. Can't imagine we're going to need that anytime soon. So yeah, our opponent is playing Phylath, World's Sculptor, and also King of Motion Sickness. 6 mana, 5/5. When it ends the battlefield, you create a number of 0/1s equal to the number of basic lands that you control, and then whenever a land enters the battlefield, you put 4 +1/+1 counters on a plant you control. Opponent has Lotus Cobra. I need to eliminate that immediately. And that's what I plan on doing. Command Tower's quite nice. So yeah, let's eliminate the Lotus Cobra here. And thin the deck. Yeah, probably thin the deck. I don't necessarily have to crack it immediately if I want to use mana next turn anyway. But with 2 lands in hand, I really need some more action here. This deck really struggles with its card advantage, so any land drop that we can not draw when we need to not draw it would be ideal. So 6 mana for Phylath. Not quite there yet. If I went for a Foretelling of the Skull Raid, well, I wouldn't really need to. I'd just probably do it now. Wouldn't save me much value at all, to be honest. So do I Skull Raid? 1 card for there too. I'm a little low on removal, so maybe, but this is probably going to hit land drops more than likely. It's the downside of using these at its earliest point, is your opponent just goes land, land, yep. And then they draw a land. And then we pass. Yeah, Massacre Worm's going to be our wondrous out here for Phylath. Not going to have to care too much about it entering the battlefield next turn. And let's see if we get a big boy from them. I can eat to extinction and improve the quality of my draws then as well. We're at 6, so it's a little bit awkward that we're going to have to Massacre Worm on 7, because that means we can't go for Tibalt here. But that's okay. I'm guessing what they want to do... Oh. Interesting. Eats my Command Tower. So they get to put Command Tower onto the battlefield and then make 4/4s. So I probably do want to feed the Swarm that, because the 4/4s aren't going to die to Massacre Worm anyway. Take 6. I'll be taking a damn sight more, I think. So now it's Eat to Extinction for the Beanstalk Giant, most likely. Yep. Let's eat that. I'm actually looking for the land here, so I'll put that on top. It means I don't have to Lightning Bolt myself with Shatter Skull Smashing. And this can be the answer to the plant token with the land drop. Or Tibalt could be as well, that's also an option. Alright. Let's start drawing well. Epic Downfall from my deck is fine. We've even got an on-color land here for us. Lovely. So how long can our opponent go without playing their Phylath? The answer is no longer. No land drop for them, oof. Oh, they're going down, chat. They are going down. They have to kill this Massacre Worm in response so that the second ability on it doesn't trigger. Thank you. Just so happens that our hand has lined up today. We're going to tick up with Tibalt again. Terror of the Peaks. Play this on red, and then kill Phylath. Heroic Intervention. Okay. That's probably why they're a little bit upset that I managed to have the answer. I will trade Phylath off, though, here. If they make me. Tibalt ults right now, actually, as it turns out. So, yeah, let's just keep Tibalt alive at all costs. Keep him on his loyalty. And then we get answers to so many different things here. Land drops for the rest of the game, removal for the rest of the game. I just don't see how a Tibalt ult doesn't win us the game on the spot. However, one removal spell for Massacre Worm does get the job done and keeps them back in the game. My only goal today is to ult Tibalt, so if we could do that right now, that'd be grand. For opponent scoops, then I know that we could have done it. But it's always nice to see, you know? To watch your hand go from 4 cards into, like, 45. I think this is maybe the salty rope. I can't imagine it's too difficult of a decision, unless maybe our opponent's got burn for both, and they're wondering whether or not to trade into Massacre Worm to kill the Tibalt or something like that. It's hard to say, really. Here we go. Ah, Shatskull smashing X6. Well, they spent 9 years making no decision at all. Okay. Because that was pretty much a no-brainer, as it turns out. Alright. If that's the case, let's go Terror of the Peaks here. Let's, I think, keep Shadow Skull smashing, actually. 2, 4, 5, 6. We can do what our opponent did right back to them. And maybe a Cling to Dust. We made a land drop last turn. Do we make it this turn? The power of my brain, chat. I think we made it last turn. We haven't made one this turn. Yeah, so I can go for a Cling to Dust here. Let's eat a... I want to keep their Shatter Skull smashing. Let's go for a Heroic Intervention. The things I eat out of their graveyard actually somewhat matter. So I'm pretty sure we don't trade on the attack here. Great henge. Wonderful. Into Questing Beast. That's a 5/5. Yeah, so now we do double Shatter Skull smashing on both. Palaka Predation. So this has to be 6 or more. Boop, boop. Like that, actually. There you go. Take those out. Get him for 5. The big problem now is that Phylath comes down, and we don't really have a good option for that. 7, 8, 9. 3, 6, 7, 8. Here we go. Here comes Phylath. Redraws. Probably ups the odds of drawing a land here, and can't imagine why they wouldn't have one. Cultivate is 2 land drops. Let's see if they go wide or if they get greedy. They go wide. Do we lose now? Let's see. I just don't really have good creatures. So I can kill Phylath. 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, hang on. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This would be 5. I'm just slightly too short, aren't I? Oh, bugger. Hit you. Yeah. Are we dead now? Big ram spell would do it. So we block here. Return of the Wild Speaker, big pump spell. Big pump spell, big ram spell, basically the same thing. That was a really close game. And the BM play at the end. Wow. Wowee. Yeah, I think we were like 2 points short on the Terror of the Peaks math there. Which is really upsetting, but here we are. Either way, though, that's going to do it for today's video. This deck's really crap. Don't build it. It's actually... It's almost been a miserable experience, I've got to admit. Yeah, there's just no card advantage for Tibalt in this day and age, I guess, in the standard format. So, you know, you really need something like Phyrexian Arena to give you more answers than your opponents are playing threats, and you just don't have that at all. You could probably put him in maybe a mid-range deck with things like Terror of the Peaks and things like that. That would probably be a lot better. I want to try out Rakdos Control, as is maybe obvious by the fact that this video exists, but yeah. From what I've learnt, it is not worthwhile. But yeah, if you did enjoy anyway, guys, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Without further ado, gonna leave it off here. Take care, have a wonderful night.